All right, I have a question about discriminants. And so we're going to look at two problems just to start to make sense of how discriminants work. This is with solving quadratics, where you're going to see this. It comes in at the beginning of right before quadratic formula or as you're learning quadratic formula. So the discriminant uses standard form. And so standard form is up here in the little blue box, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So first things first is neither one of these problems equal to 0. So I need to fix that. So it's equal to 5. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. That leaves me with negative 2r squared minus r plus 15 minus 5 is 10. And 5 minus 5 is 0. Okay, so this one's good to go now. Over here, I need it to equal 0, so I need to add 3 to both sides. It's already equal to a negative 3, so to make that 0, I have to add 3. So I've got 3n squared plus 9n plus 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay, so now we have both of these in standard form. And so the discriminant, if you already know the quadratic formula or you've seen it before, it's the part underneath the square root, underneath the radical. So the discriminant, which we can write as d, is b squared. I wrote to the fourth power. Let me change that. B squared minus, here's the 4ac. Okay, so this is the formula for the discriminant. It's just the part under the radical. So if you're able to use your formula sheet, then you can just see it right there printed underneath the square root symbol. It doesn't include the square root, it's just the part underneath it. Okay, so using this ax squared plus bx plus c, think about we want to find a, b, and c. And so we can see that here in this problem and here in this problem. Okay, so let's look at what I mean by that. Okay. Sorry, the annotation tool is covering it up, so let me fix that. All right, so here I have that a is -2. B is a little tricky. It's a negative r, and I know it's b is the number in front of that letter, right? So it's -1. So make sure you're clear on that there's an understood 1 there, and it is negative. And then c is 10. C is the constant number that doesn't have a variable. It's just the 1 at the end. Over here, a is 3, b is 9, and c is 8. Those are nice and easy because they all have the numbers you can see, and none of them are negatives. All right, so let's go to the formula. So b squared minus 4 times a times c. I'm just writing it this way so that I can plug in very simply, and I'm not going to miss something because of parentheses or because of negative numbers. So b is -1 squared minus 4 times a is -2. And c is +10. Okay, so be really mindful right here. This is where a lot of people miss it, and I don't want you to be one of those people. If you don't tell if you're doing this in the calculator and you don't tell the calculator the parentheses part, your calculator is going to think you mean -1 times 1 squared and give you -1 as an answer. But if you stop and think about it, you know that if you multiply two negatives, you get a positive. And -1 squared means -1 times -1. So that is 1. And then -4 times -2 is 8. And so we have 8 times 10 is 80 plus 1. So the discriminant here is 81. Now that is the first part of this answer. The discriminant is 81, but the question is, what does that mean? Well, if it is a positive number, that means that there are going to be two real solutions to this equation, to this quadratic equation. So we would just say there's going to be two real solutions. We don't know what they are yet. The discriminant just tells you what kind they are and how many there will be. So if it's a positive number, I'm in the dark. I see that the sun is the right time of day for the sun to come through. If it's a positive number that you get, doesn't matter if it's 1 or 100 or 1,000,000, like it doesn't matter. If it's positive, then you're going to have two real solutions to this equation. You're going to have two answers when you use the quadratic formula or factor or complete the square, however you end up solving it. Okay, but that's another step for another day. All right, so let's do the same thing over here. We're using the same formula. So b squared minus 4 times a times c. B this time is 9, a is 3, c is 8. So 9 squared, 9 times 9 is 81, and then 12 times 8 is 96. And 81 minus 96, that's a negative, which really goes ahead and tells me what kind of answers I'm going to get or solutions, but I do need to subtract. I get negative 15. So two answers. The discriminant is negative 15. And what that tells me is that a negative answer means I'm going to have two imaginary solutions. Now, if you haven't learned about imaginary numbers yet, that's okay. Just know that's what they're called. They're a whole new set of numbers. And so sometimes you'll see that written as complex. So you may not see two imaginary numbers or solutions. It may say two complex solutions. It means the same thing. So complex or imaginary. All right. Positive's two real solutions. Negative is two imaginary solutions. And all right, we'll leave it at that. I'll see you next time.